A massive power outage hit Ukraine Saturday, plunging the capital, Kyiv, and several regions into darkness for hours. The blackout was caused by a technical malfunction on transmission lines connecting Ukraine, Moldova, and Romania. It's another blow to a country already struggling with weeks of Russian strikes on its energy infrastructure during one of the coldest winters in years. Ukraine and Russia are set to hold direct talks in Abu Dhabi today, aimed at exploring a possible end to the 4-year-long war.
An urgent underground rescue. Emergency workers evacuate trapped passengers after Kyiv's trains grind to a halt. They make their way through the dark tunnels to safety on the platforms. An announcement tells waiting passengers there's been a power surge and that there are no services at any train stations. It's the first complete shutdown of Kyiv's metro system since the start of the war in 2022. The government blamed a malfunction.
This morning, a technical incident occurred on the energy grid. 2 lines between Romania and Moldova and on the territory of Ukraine stopped operating. The causes are being thoroughly investigated. As of now, there's no confirmation of external interference or a cyber attack.
By mid-afternoon, power began returning to critical infrastructure and residential areas in various cities. However, the situation in Kyiv remains precarious. President Zelensky warned of a significant heating deficit, with more than 3,000 buildings affected as temperatures remain sub-zero. The incident piled further pressure on Ukraine's fragile energy grid, which has been the repeated target of Russian bombardment.
This isn't the first day. We have had a hard time. And we understand that it won't be the last. They are trying to scare us, but we won't break. We are not afraid. It's hard for us, but we will stand strong.
Another reminder of how resilience has become part of everyday life for many in Ukraine.
DW's Russia analyst Konstantin Eggert joins me now from Vilnius. Konstantin, we've seen reports of outages in Kyiv and several other areas, and we're also hearing reports of Russian drone strikes that killed 2 people in Dnipro overnight. What impact might that have on the progress of the talks?
Michael, I do think that the calculation of the Russian side is that it will break the Ukrainians' resolve. And indeed, there is very significant damage to Ukrainian energy infrastructure since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in 2022. The electricity generation capacity in Ukraine fell to 2.5 times, actually, from 33 to 14 gigawatts. That is according to the International Energy Agency. So this is a very potent, potentially, tool of forcing Ukraine to accept Russian conditions. But I do not think that this will have any kind of immediate impact on the talks, because it's been going on for a long time. And in this respect, the strategy of the Kremlin, the strategy of the Russian invaders is pretty clear.
Russian and U.S. envoys met yesterday in Florida, as you well know, and reported constructive talks. What do we read into that? Does that suggest real progress?
Well, no, Michael, you and I now have a very constructive talk. So you can say it about pretty much anything when people didn't leave the room in 3 minutes. But I think that this is just another way of saying, for both sides, that talks go on, that there is some kind of conversation happening. But the thing is that US and Russia cannot force Ukraine to accept certain things. And in this respect, whenever the Ukrainians participate, is much more important than when Washington and Moscow talk, because we pretty much know what their position is and what they eventually want. In many ways, I think you can say that the Russians and the Americans want the Ukrainians to be speedier in accepting certain conditions, but this is completely impossible for the government of President Zelensky.
Only about half a minute, Konstantin, but the limited ceasefire will last only through this weekend. Is there a chance this will be extended?
There is, but I think that Russia will have this patchy attitude to this ceasefire on and off thing, showing that it is in control of the situation on the ground. That is very traditional Putin attitude and Putin tactic.
DW's Russia analyst Konstantin Eggert, as ever, many thanks.
Thank you.